The Pittsburgh Steelers need a new offense coordinator. So here are all the interviews the Pittsburgh Steelers have requested and already did with coaches around the league. And here are all their resumes and if they would be a good candidate for the Steelers opening at this position. Mike Tomlin has already stated that he wants to interview people with experience in coaching at the NFL level, both at quarterbacks coach and offense coordinator coaching. So let's get it started. Let's start off with the people we know confirmed the Steelers have shown interest in terms of they've already interviewed or they have a scheduled interview with them. So we're going to start off with Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator Thomas Brown. So he's already interviewed or at least confirmed interest. Brown has worked his way up through the coaching landscape and landed his first coordinator job last offseason when he signed with the Carolina Panthers. While the Panthers offense did struggle, Brown, he comes from a highly sought after coaching tree. He comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And before his stint in Carolina, he did serve as the Rams assistant head coach for basically 2 seasons. And that included the season when they defeated the Bengals in the Super Bowl and lifted the Lombardi Trophy. So the Steelers have completed an interview with Brown on January 24th. So the second guy they've showed interest in is Zack Robinson, Los Angeles Rams passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So they've set up an interview with him, and Zack Robinson seems as though he is the next man up from the McVay coaching tree. The first 2 people have in common is they're both from the Sean McVay coaching tree and have spent time with him. So Zack Robinson, he spent 3 years as an assistant quarterbacks and wide receivers coach before taking the quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator job last season in 2022. He oversaw basically the Rams' vastly improved offense in 2023 while helping to get the most out of the exciting stars and the upcomers in like Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. Robinson is only 37 years old, which would make him by far the youngest coordinator Mike Tomlin has ever hired in his tenure with the Steelers. The Steelers requested an interview with Robinson on January 22nd. So he's someone that the Steelers have shown interest in, and he's an exciting prospect as a coordinator. The third person the Steelers have requested an interview with, apparently, is Cliff Kingsbury, USC offensive analyst, quarterbacks coach, and former Arizona Cardinals head coach, which he was last season. So Kingsbury, he's a former head coach, like I just said, and he was the head coach last season. So he is currently in the college ranks and serves as a USC's quarterbacks coach and senior offensive analyst. While he is coaching under Lincoln Riley, Kingsbury has shown interest in rejoining the NFL landscape and has reportedly landed an offense coordinator interview already with the Chicago Bears, and now apparently the Steelers have offered to give him an interview as well. Kingsbury served as the Cardinals head coach for 4 seasons, but does not have an NFL coordinator experience, as he last served in that kind of role when he was in Texas A&M in college in 2012, coaching there. But according to Peter King, the Steelers have mentioned to plan on meeting with Kingsbury for their offensive coordinator vacancy. I think I got it wrong. He was not the head coach last season of the Cardinals, so that's my bad. Now moving over to the fourth candidate for the Steelers offense coordinator position, someone they've already interviewed with, is Jared Johnson. So Jared Johnson is a Houston Texans quarterbacks coach and also a former Steelers quarterback. So Johnson is comparable candidate to Zack Robinson, someone who that has not previously worked as an offense coordinator in this league. The reason that Johnson may be attractive for the Steelers is basically due to his development and him helping out CJ Stroud and him having instant success in the NFL. Johnson, alongside Bobby Slowick, helped transform the Texans' offensive unit into a diverse attack, and something that kind of resembled what Sean McVay was trying to do with his offense in LA. So Johnson has much closer ties to the Cleveland Browns offense coordinator vacancy due to his time with Kevin O'Connell. Johnson fits the mold of coming up from the McVay and kind of Kyle Shanahan coaching tree and kind of coming from that kind of mold of an offensive system. So the Steelers seem to be interested in the interview process with him because Friday, January 26th, according to a report by Tom Pelissero of NFL.com, the Steelers are set to interview Johnson. So those are the four candidates that we know right now that the Pittsburgh Steelers have 100% shown interest in. The only iffy one I would say is Cliff Kingsbury because Peter King reported it. It wasn't really announced by the team or any reporter. It was just reported by Peter King. So I don't know if we could trust him 100%, but he said the Pittsburgh Steelers have some interest in him. So we have to take his word for it in that kind of regard. Now, since all those candidates that the Steelers interviewed or have requested interviews with have been listed, let me just give my thoughts individually on who I think would be the best fit out of these four. Obviously, there's going to be more interviews to come later on and more as we get into the offseason, as some of these teams playing in the playoffs are still playing and these coaches are still coaching. Steelers might interview people from 49ers or stuff like that. But let me just give you my thoughts on these four people. So, the ones I believe the Steelers have most interest in out of these four is either Zack Robinson or Jared Johnson from Houston Texans. And I'll tell you why I don't want Cliff Kingsbury to be the Steelers offense coordinator or maybe Thomas Brown. Let me start off with Cliff Kingsbury because you look at him and he's been with the Cardinals. But even though he's been with the Cardinals, he hasn't really been their offensive coordinator or their play calling. And it seems like whenever he was calling plays or kind of has stuff to do with the offense, it just was not a very good offense. And it seems like he always had these arguments with the players on the sideline, if I remember correctly, with Kyler Murray and things of that nature. And I don't think that would be a good fit for the Steelers because he doesn't have even experience calling the plays, even though he's been a head coach in this league. What's good having a head coach if he's not an offensive guru or someone who's studied the offense? Yes, he's an offensive assistant at USC, but do you really want to hire another person from college like you did with Matt Canada? No, I don't think they should. Moving over to the next guy, Thomas Brown, who's offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. I don't want this guy as the Steelers offensive coordinator, and I'll tell you why. Because he's been with the Panthers, and the Panthers have one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I know you can't solely put the blame on him, but he's a big reason why. Yes, you have rookie at a quarterback position. Yes, your offense line isn't great, but he just did not be able to make it work. He was not able to give any success or show any hope with Bryce Young that he could be a good quarterback moving forward. You would see some type of flashes usually from a rookie quarterback, but we just haven't seen those flashes, and he's the offensive coordinator. So I wonder why there was no flashes shown. So I don't want to get a guy from the worst team in the NFL and just sign him to be our offensive coordinator when he couldn't do it with their team to even move them out of last place. So I just don't want him as our offensive coordinator, and he just hasn't shown much to make me want to see him be with the Steelers. So for me, those two are out of the equation even though they've interviewed. But the next two people I believe have more of a chance. The first person, the main person who I would want to see with the Steelers, out of all these options the Steelers have already interviewed, there's some outside guys that they haven't interviewed yet that I would want to see maybe get the job, but they haven't interviewed them, so I can't go based off that. But based off interviews, I would want to see Zack Robinson be the Steelers' offense coordinator because he's been the passing game coordinator. He's been the quarterback's coach. I mean that he's worked with Matthew Stafford for a while now. He's worked with Sean McVay. He has to be working directly with Sean McVay if he's the offensive kind of game coordinator, because that means he has control of the offense and the passing game. He doesn't really work much with the running game, as I've kind of seen or I've read about. He's more of the passing guy, But that's what the Steelers need. They need someone who's going to be able to help Kenny Pickett. They need someone who's going to be able to work with Kenny Pickett or work with whoever's the quarterback. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter. I'm just guessing he probably would be because they invested a lot in him. But they need someone to work directly with the quarterback and get the passing game going. They already have the running game going, so get the passing game going, and I believe Zack Robinson can be the guy. He worked closely with Sean McVay, and we know how good Sean McVay's offense can be, and getting someone directly from his coaching tree who's worked directly under him and with him can really help this team, and I believe Zack Robinson's the guy. But if they're not going to go with Zack Robinson, I would like to see them give Jared Johnson a shot out of these other 4 guys, because he's helped CJ Stroud, he's been the quarterback's coach with him, and instant success for a rookie quarterback to that kind of level is usually unheard of, and CJ Stroud, he had that instantly, and Jared Johnson is the reason why he was able to do it, alongside Bobby Slowick, who I believe the Steelers should be targeting, but there's no reason why he would leave Texans, so never mind with that. But Jared Johnson, out of all these other guys, he'd be my second option. So these are the Steelers' top 4 options they've already interviewed, and my top 2 options who I believe should be actually given the chance out of all these other 4. But with that being said, let me know down in the comments below your thoughts about these kind of interviews the Steelers have done with the offensive coordinator candidates, and who would you like to see out of these 4 guys be the offense coordinator as we get more into it, into the offseason and kind of later in the week. I'll make a video out on other people who they haven't interviewed yet, who maybe they should, and who should be the top candidates outside of these 4. But let me know your thoughts on these 4 down in the comments below, and do you like any of them? Let me know your thoughts, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like Steelers content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for the channel as well, so you can get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. I post everything Pittsburgh Steelers and cover news every single day, post videos basically every day, so stay tuned for the latest news, turn on notifications for this channel, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.